The human psyche keeps no less secrets than the depths of the ocean. Scientists are constantly exploring the brain and discovering new patterns of behavior, and the number of surprises is always growing. Learning something interesting about yourself as a person is always exciting. From this video, you will learn 25 facts about human psychology. You will get to know yourself a little better, and you will easily cope with life's difficulties. Welcome to a new video from the Psychology Simplified YouTube channel. If you are new here, subscribe for more social psychology videos and comment down below, "I subscribed," and let us welcome you. Brain activity continues even when we rest. At this moment, a filtering occurs of what really needs to be stored in memory and what needs to be put away in reserve. When you wake up in the morning, you will never forget what is really important to you, but you will also not remember what you focused on yesterday. A person feels more successful and happy only when his mind is occupied with something. Moreover, grey matter is not interested in monotonous work. We are talking about constant hustle and bustle, concentration and switching from one job to another. Only in such moments does a person feel happy. Also, when a person becomes happier than usual, his need for sleep decreases. Research shows that a happy person's sleep is about 10% shorter. You cannot ignore food, sex, and danger. Have you noticed that people always stop to look at scenes of accidents? In fact, we cannot ignore the situation of danger. Each person has a special part of the brain that is responsible for survival and reproduction. Researchers have proven that if in youth a person knew how to give up what he really wanted, life's trials are easier and with minimal losses. People are able to accept the most monstrous changes in their lives calmly, provided that these changes occur gradually. They happen in one fell swoop. Why do people live in marriages that destroy the psyche? The answer is simple. They got used to it and accepted it, because the changes did not happen in one day and people have time to get used to the bad. Their reality changed, but slowly, and eventually it became normal and not normal. In order to get used to something, it takes no more than 2 months, or rather 66 days. It is precisely this period that a person will need in order to form and bring any action to automatism. For example, if you want to switch to proper nutrition, then you may need a little less than about 55 days, but you will have to get used to sports longer, up to 75 days. Every day from 12 to 60,000 thoughts come into the average person's head. Our brain is 1,000,000 times cooler than the most powerful computer, but just look at what we spend this power on. 80% of our thoughts are negative, and most negative thoughts are repeated day after day. So all the stupid thoughts that sometimes come into your mind are completely normal. This happens to everyone. The best remedy for worries, anxiety, and stress is reading. This activity has a faster effect on the body. Surprisingly, this method is much better than drinking alcohol, much more effective than walking, drinking tea, or listening to music. There is a principle in psychology. The more expectations about an event, the higher the likelihood of crushing disappointment. The more you wait, the less you get. The less you wait, the more you get. If glass is broken in a house, soon there won't be a single intact window left in it, and then looting will begin. This is the basic idea and theories of broken windows. In a broader sense, this theory is that people are much more willing to break rules and norms of behavior if they see clear signs of disorder around them. This has been experimentally proven many times. So, minor disorder and laxity in your life can lead to global problems in the future. People are reluctant to contradict a calm, balanced person. On the contrary, when someone vehemently and aggressively defends his opinion, he will be resisted and argued with. There is no better word for a person than his name. The first thing you need to remember when meeting someone is their name, not their position, not their profession, but their name. This is the basic rule for establishing good relationships. Psychologists have determined that a woman only needs 45 seconds to evaluate an unfamiliar man, 10 seconds of which she forms a general impression of the figure, 8 seconds assessing the eyes, 7 seconds looking at the hair, 10 seconds at the lips and chin, 5 seconds at the shoulders, and the last 5 seconds looking at the ring, if of course there is one. People suffering from depression often say that they perceive the world around them in shades of grey. It turned out that this is not just a psychological phenomenon. The greyness of colours in depression has a physiological basis. In a state of depression, the human retina becomes less sensitive to colour contrasts and distinguishes shades more poorly. But the opposite is also true. If you are surrounded by greyness and dull colours, then the likelihood of getting depression or blues increases significantly. Incompetent people often end up higher on the career ladder than their more qualified colleagues. According to the Dunning-Kruger effect, people with low skill levels tend to overestimate their abilities, and when making a bad decision, they are often unable to realize that they were wrong. People with a high level of qualifications look at things more soberly and, on the contrary, tend to underestimate their abilities and believe that others do not value them highly. These findings were experimentally confirmed in 1999. Women feel loved when interacting face-to-face with their partner. Men, on the other hand, experience emotional intimacy when they work, play, or talk while sitting next to their partner. The most famous example of deception through honesty: a person who voices his dishonest intentions will appear more honest in the eyes of others than a person who completely lacks these intentions or hides them. You can only remember 3 or 4 items at a time. There is a rule of the magic number 7 plus or minus 2, according to which a person cannot store more than 5 to 9 blocks of information at the same time. Most information is stored in short-term memory for 20 to 30 seconds, after which we quickly forget it, unless we repeat it over and over again. The child begins to perceive his separate I only after 2 years of birth, and before that, he feels one with the entire world around him. Just as we consider our arm and leg to be ourselves, so the baby considers the entire world around him to be part of himself. 90% of all diseases are psychological in nature. A person can be completely healthy only by restoring his mental balance. It has been proven that a child deprived of physical contact with people for a long time degrades and may die. As a result, the lack of physical and emotional connections can be fatal for a person. This is a kind of sensory hunger that needs to be stimulated in every person's life. Observations by psychologists show that during personal contacts, interlocutors are not able to look at each other all the time, but only no more than 60% of the total time. However, the time of eye contact can go beyond the limits in 2 cases: among lovers and among aggressive people. Therefore, if an unfamiliar person looks at you for a long time and intently, most often this indicates hidden aggression. The contraction and dilation of the pupils is not subject to consciousness, so their reaction very clearly shows the partner's interest in you. Dilation of the pupils shows increased interest in you, while narrowing of the pupils shows hostility. However, a similar phenomenon should be observed in dynamics, since the size of the pupil also depends on the illumination. In bright sunshine, a person's pupils are narrow. In a dark room, the pupils dilate. If you decide to start an important business, never tell anyone about it, otherwise nothing will work out. When you announce your plans, your brain checks an imaginary done box, and it is very difficult to convince it otherwise. This may sound like a superstition, but psychologists have confirmed this pattern with serious research and surveys. To gain a person's trust, you need to hold him in your arms for about 20 seconds. only of your own free will, of course. It's all about oxytocin. It's a hormone that is produced in the body when we feel safe, including around loved ones. It also calms and relaxes. Another argument in favor of hugs on long winter evenings. If you liked this video, be sure to write your opinion and subscribe to the channel, friends. See you again.